Meeting setting companies, tech that works. Why meeting setting tech matters more than ever. Booking net new B2B meetings is a math problem now, not a motivation problem. When the average cold email response rate is only 5.1% and cold calling conversion from dial to booked meeting sits around 2.3%, small improvements in targeting, deliverability, and workflow compound into real pipeline. That's why modern meeting setting companies and any serious outbound sales agency live and die by the tech stack behind the SDRs. If your tools don't improve reach, relevance, and speed to meeting, you'll burn domains and phone numbers, exhaust your reps, and still end up with a thin calendar. In practice, tech that works means a foundation of clean data and reputation management, an orchestration layer that runs multi-channel outreach, and an intelligence layer that learns from every call and reply. Whether you're building in-house, hiring SDRs, or working with a cold email agency or cold calling agency, the evaluation standard is the same. Measurable lift in meetings per account, show rates, and opportunity creation. Start with fundamentals: data quality, deliverability, and CRM sync. Most teams try to fix weak meeting volume by increasing activity, but the fastest path to more meetings is better inputs. When your firmographics, technographics, and contact data are accurate, every email and call costs less and converts more. And you avoid the common mistake of hammering thousands of low-intent contacts just to hit volume. Next, treat deliverability and caller ID reputation like pipeline infrastructure. If your domains are misconfigured or your sending patterns trigger spam filters, the funnel dies before prospects ever see your message. The same is true when your numbers get labeled as spam and connection rates crater. A credible sales development agency should be able to show domain health, bounce trends, spam complaint controls, suppression logic, and what they do when performance degrades. Finally, insist on tight CRM integration from day one. If your meeting setting partner can't reliably sync contacts, activities, dispositions, recordings, and outcomes back to your CRM, your attribution and handoffs will be messy, and your AEs will operate without context, which is how booked meetings turn into missed opportunities. The engagement layer, multi-channel sequencing that drives meetings. A modern sales engagement platform is the orchestration layer that turns good data into consistent outbound execution. When email, calling, and LinkedIn tasks live in one place, you can enforce rules of engagement, throttle volume safely, route replies correctly, and measure outcomes by account instead of guessing from scattered tools. Multi-channel matters because it changes the odds, not because it's trendy. Outbound programs that combine email, phone, and LinkedIn generate 287% higher engagement than single-channel outreach, and teams using modern engagement platforms commonly report 20 to 30% higher reply rates and 2 to 3x more meetings booked versus manual, ad hoc execution. The important shift is how you measure success. Instead of celebrating total meetings, a metric that can hide low-fit volume, we recommend judging any outsourced sales team or outbound sales agency on meetings per 100 target accounts, show rate, and meeting-to-opportunity conversion. Then tracing each result back to the sequence and segment that produced it. Calling tech that supports real conversations, not vanity activity. Cold calling services work best when the tech makes it easier to have high-quality conversations and harder to cut corners. With dial-to-meeting success hovering around 2.3%, just dial more is rarely the answer. The win comes from better lists, better timing, and a tighter loop between calling outcomes and sequence adjustments. The The baseline requirements for any cold calling company should include an integrated dialer, click-to-call workflows, reliable call dispositioning, and call recording with searchable transcripts. Caller ID reputation controls and local presence can help, but they need to be managed carefully so you improve answer rates without creating compliance or trust issues. A common mistake is letting a vendor operate as a black box that only reports dials and attempts. A credible B2B cold calling services provider should share connect rates, conversation rates, booked meetings per account segment, and what they learned from objection patterns. Because those insights are what improve scripts, targeting, and follow-up across the whole outbound motion. The best meeting setting teams don't do more outreach. They build systems that make every touch more relevant and every rep hour more productive. AI and automation, where it helps and where it hurts. AI is now a practical advantage in meeting setting, but only when it's applied to the right parts of the workflow. Benchmarks show AI-native sales tools deliver about 2.8 times higher ROI on average than non-AI tools, which is why evaluating AI maturity is now a legitimate criterion when choosing an SDR agency or sales outsourcing partner. The highest leverage use case is research and drafting, not fully automated personalization. AI can quickly scan websites, job posts, text signals, and LinkedIn to surface relevant hooks, then generate structured first drafts that humans refine into natural messaging. That blends scales relevance without producing the obvious robotic copy that buyers ignore. AI also becomes a force multiplier after meetings are booked. Conversation intelligence and call coaching platforms can flag patterns and improve execution at scale. And some analyses show 35% higher win rates when teams use AI tracking and coaching effectively. Which means your meeting setting company's tech should care about meeting quality and downstream outcomes, not just calendar fills. Reclaim SDR time with the right workflow design or the right partner. The hidden bottleneck in outbound isn't effort, it's time allocation. SDRs typically spend only 18 to 30% of their day actually selling, with the rest going to admin, research, and CRM updates. So the best tech stacks are designed to remove friction from those non-selling tasks. If you're deciding whether to hire SDRs internally or outsource sales, look at what happens to rep time when specialists take the operational load. Some data suggests reps supported by specialist lead gen providers can spend 73% of their time pitching and closing instead of prospecting and admin, which is exactly what you're buying when you engage a B2B sales agency with mature systems. The practical move is to audit your last 90 days by channel and by account, then redesign around a tech pyramid that protects your foundation first. When you know your baseline reply rates, connect rates, meetings per 100 accounts, show rates, and opportunity creation, you can tell whether new tooling or an outsourced SDR team is creating lift or just producing prettier activity logs. Avoid the mistakes that quietly wreck outbound performance. One of the most expensive mistakes is buying a sales engagement platform and assuming it will fix a broken process. Without clear ICP segments, ownership rules, qualification criteria, and messaging guidelines, the platform becomes an expensive task list, adoption drops, and you end up chasing volume instead of building a repeatable path to qualified meetings. Another mistake is over-automating personalization. Buyers can spot first name plus generic compliment instantly, and when that kind of outreach is scaled, it can damage brand trust and deliverability. The better approach is to use AI to gather context and generate drafts, then rely on human review to keep tone credible and calls to action specific. Finally, don't ignore post-meeting intelligence. If you treat a booked meeting as the finish line, you miss the feedback loop that improves messaging, scripts, and targeting. Recording and reviewing a handful of calls each week is how you turn a pay-per-meeting lead generation program into a pipeline engine that gets smarter every month. What to do next? A practical evaluation and rollout plan. When you evaluate meeting setting companies, ask for a live tech stack walkthrough, not a slide of logos. You want to see how they source and verify data, how they manage deliverability and phone reputation, how sequences are built and throttled, and how everything syncs into your CRM, so your AEs can act quickly with full context. Then, run a focused multi-channel pilot for one tight ICP segment, a 2 to 3 week cadence that blends email, B2B cold calling, and LinkedIn outreach is usually enough to compare against your single channel baseline. And it forces the provider to show how their systems handle reply routing, scheduling, follow-up, and reporting without hiding behind aggregate metrics. At SalesHive, we've learned that the teams who win long-term are the ones who operationalize measurement and iteration. If you're considering SalesHive, SalesHive reviews, or SalesHive pricing as part of a broader vendor shortlist, keep the bar consistent. Prove lift in meetings per account, show rates in opportunity creation, and make sure the tech stack supports durable pipeline instead of short-lived activity spikes.